If you haven't heard of the GTR, then you're either new to fast cars, hello, welcome, you're gonna love this. Please say hello in the comments and don't forget to subscribe. Or you've been in hiding. So,
years ago, Nissan made this thing called the Skyliner, and they called it the GTR so they could take it racing. So after a few years, it lost some doors, and it was just called the GTR. And they came to Australia in the R32, and it went racing, and it won everything, and then it basically got banned because it was too good. It was beating all the local stuff. So it got banned, but anyway, we still love it, and everyone everywhere still loves it. And then after that, in 2007, the R35.
this car came out. Okay, that was a lot of talking and a lot of deep breaths. I'm gonna black out. I think I'll park up so I can show you some things.
Like the movies, the GTR is different from year to year. A software tweak here, a little hardware change there, a Nürburgring lap record to keep things interesting. Every change, every year, Nissan ups the game. Like every other special GTR, it's different, but the same. It's still powered by Nissan's legendary VR38 DETT twin-turbo V6, but it's got more grunt.
Nissan is a little bit like George Lucas. They lovingly hand make a thing that everybody loves, except that's where that metaphor falls down because George Lucas ruins absolutely everything. But anyway, Nissan adds a little bit here and a little bit there. This is the Nissan GTR Nismo. Bred in the fire of motorsport, it's the pinnacle of the GTR. The Nismo is bristling with aero stuff. There's the huge rear splitter with the big exhaust poking out. You've got a massive rear wing, you've got skirts, and you've got this mad front splitter, which is really low and scrapes on everything, but it all does actually work. It pulls the car into the ground. There's even a slightly longer rear bumper to give it the same drag coefficient as the standard GTR. Of course, it's not just all about aero grip, it's about tyres. Tyres are so important. So they're wrapped around these huge 20-inch raised lightweight forged aluminium wheels. The name of the tyre is so long that I think that's the reason they're 20 inches, so they can actually fit it around the edge of the tyre. They're really sticky and they really work. Behind the wheels are these huge steel brakes drilled with some massive Brembo calipers. This is a heavy car, so it really needs some serious braking performance.
441 kilowatts, or close to a nice round 600 brake horsepower. Some of that comes from the turbos of Nissan's GTR GT3 car, a monster of a car. It also has 652 Newton meters of torque. That's a lot, even for a car as heavy as the GTR.
There's been a lot of little detailed changes in this, so it's obviously harder. Lots of bits of software have been reprogrammed, and the aero bits do things like even out the downforce across all four wheels. Now that stuff's not especially useful on the road, obviously, because you've got all sorts of things interrupting the airflow, and really it's kind of a nerd's paradise kind of thing, all that stuff. But I've driven a GTR before, and while I found it fun and interesting, it wasn't something that really held my attention. Like, it launches amazingly, and I mean the grip is just, I don't think I've driven anything with so much grip. It's just so sticky on the road. That was just a normal one. But I did find it a bit heavy feeling. I mean, you can have a heavy car that doesn't feel heavy, like the Jaguar F-Type SVR manages to feel light most of the time, and that's partly to do with the way the steering is done and the suspension is done and all that. So it is possible to, you know, engineer out the weight, but I just felt that it could have been harder. So I got my wish. I got this. It's the GTR Nismo. So Nismo is obviously Nissan Motorsport, and this fixes all of my whinges about the standard car. I love the way this car drives. It's a kick in the pants, basically. It really, really hammers. But the way it turns into corners is just extraordinary. It really is something else, the way it turns in. And, you know, you can feel not only the fact that it's good steering, but the diff is working really hard to point the car, because of course it's got a rear transaxle and it's all built into the back there. So the power actually goes out back and then back to the front. Look, in reality, none of that stuff is important. You know, everyone goes on about, oh, it's this and it's that. It's not a purist car in the sense that it's rear-wheel drive and has no electronics or anything like that. This is a technological car. It's a car that breathes in binary. It's not a muscle car in the sense of a, you know, honking great V8. The performance of this thing is just amazing. It is just, I mean, it's really, oh boy. I have to keep checking the cameras haven't been torn off the car. It's so quick. 2.9 seconds to 100. That's getting into Tesla territory, but this is way more fun than a Tesla. You know, this will stay with most Ferraris. This will stay with most Lamborghinis. This will stay with most Porsches. It's really that kind of car, and it's that Japanese approach that makes this car so different. And what's even more impressive is the fundamentals of this car are 10 years old. And that's extraordinary. Like, any other car that's 10 years old, it's like, oh, that car's past it. Oh, you know. There's a Maserati that's that old, and we love it, but it's too old, and it's just got no, it doesn't have the technology that it needs, whereas this thing's constantly getting new bits and new software and new, it's terrific. Yeah. Better than I expected because of my experience in the previous car. Yeah. I can drive this all day. I love it. All day.
It might be 10 years old, but the GTR can still not only surprise, but stun. This is a rawer, edgier GTR that will probably convert even the hardest of souls. It shows how a car company can make a platform that can serve for many years and stay with newer, faster cars while still delivering on its promise of a high-technology, high-intensity experience. And after all these years, it still has one of the greatest party tricks of all, launch control. That never gets old.